you can't tell what's in a truck. So there's times when I go to make a pass and then I realize like, oh, he actually might be lighter than me up this hill, just taking it easy on the downhills. Welcome back, I'm Tedward. Welcome to a truck stop somewhere out in the middle of Pennsylvania. There's my best friends, Corey, David, and Eddie going into the truck stop for some food, and welcome to the 2019 Freightliner Toter Home that we've been living out of when we tow the race cars out to Grid Life events. I wanted to take you on a proper tour and POV drive of this thing today. It is an absolute monster. It's 78 feet long with a 44-foot trailer. Inside we've got an RV with a pop-out so we can sleep all four of us pretty damn comfortably. Under the hood of this Freightliner is a Detroit diesel 15.6 liter inline six turbo diesel, obviously. So it makes about 560 horsepower and 2,000 pound-feet of torque. So she can climb some hills. We weighed it in on the scales the other day, fully laden with 3 cars in the trailer and 120 gallons of diesel and all of our stuff at 68,700 pounds and change. So when we're all in it, it's 69,000 pounds. Now the point of this rig is so we don't all have to drive individual trucks and open trailers to these events, and now we don't even need to get hotel rooms because we sleep in the truck. In order to load the cars up, this is a double-decker trailer, so this whole rear end folds down, you get on the ramp, and it elevates you up to the top floor. We've got 2 cars up top and 1 in the bottom with all of our tools. So let me show you inside. Back here we have 3 axles, which is super helpful because if we do lose a tire, it shouldn't be the end of the world. In here, this is where things get interesting. Let's get our lower level lights on. You can see some of our junk, tables, scooters, all that stuff. But this is Corey's Focus ST. This is not a race car, but this is what we use as our runabout when we need a normal car at these events, because this is obviously not very convenient to drive. And doesn't turn around very easily. We've got tire storage kind of all over the place. I'll show you more. And let's see, upstairs, throw those lights on. You can already tell that we've got Eddie's car right here. Spare wheel and tire for the trailer. There's Eddie's Acuity Type R, and back there behind some tires is David's GT4 Club Sport. So this has made traveling to Grid Life time attack events completely different. Now, not only do we have a great way to spend time together in this vehicle, but we don't need hotel rooms, and we can put up a giant awning on this trailer, and it makes for an incredible base camp. Make sure I don't get hit by a big rig. Makes for an incredible base camp for a ton of people when we're hanging out at these tracks. And then we set up a whole kitchen with grills and everything. David cooks. It's absolutely outrageous. So I've shown you the interior of this RV before, but I can show you what it looks like from here. Now, you get an idea of what it's like to hop into this thing. It's awfully tall. And then this seat here is on air, but you can raise and lower it right here. So that will bring it down or raise it up. It needs a little bit of body weight for that to work. Let's see, some crumbs from David's goldfish. And there we are. So this one is used. It has 86,320 miles on it so far. And here is the RV portion. So this all pushes out, which is great because this is my bed over here. It turns into a bed. This is a pull-out couch, sleeps Eddie and Corey, and then up there over the cab is where David sleeps. And then we do also have a bathroom, a shower. We put a lot of water on board, so we're good to go. This toilet is a godsend in traffic because sometimes when we want a driver swap, we can get ready without pulling over and stopping. We can just use the bathroom, relieve ourselves, and jump in the driver's seat. So let's get some fuel. We're almost out, and then we'll go ahead and get running and make the rest of the trek home to Boston. We've got a 9:07 p.m. arrival time. Not sure. Ooh, this fly's gonna drive me nuts. Not sure how accurate that is, but we'll do our best. All right, everybody's got their food now. Let's see. I'll get this air seat back up, and we've got our key down here to start it, just like a normal car.
I gotta inflate my feet because you were the last one sitting in it.
I like to have my feet on the ground. All right, and ooh, we got a fly that's gonna drive me super bonkers. Oil pressure's coming up, air pressure's looking good. Trans temps. This is the air on the gooseneck, so we'll watch that kind of fluctuate over some bumps. Axle temperature and oil temperature. Our water temp is down here, and you know, we're pretty much ready to go. I can move the seat front and back like that and lower it a little bit. We'll go headlights on. We're just about to encounter maybe a little bit of rain, and we're good on all sides. To get this thing into drive, first we're going to kill the air brakes for these, and then watch, make sure everything's cool here. Go into drive. It's not going to let me do it because I don't have my foot on the brake yet, so foot on the brake, into drive. We have a 12-speed automatic gearbox, and I have a rear view camera there. Rolling into the power, checking mirrors, making sure we don't drag a gas station along with us. And let's see, do we have to go out the way we came in?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there's definitely some weather, so we'll go nice and wide out here. Good. I'm still not the most comfortable in tight spaces with this thing. Not that this is necessarily a tight space, but anytime there's obstacles or things that you could potentially hit, it's just, you know, a big responsibility. David is quite an expert in some tight maneuverability in this thing right now, which is a godsend, because to have someone with some confidence and knows they can kind of get around things, we're good. Now here we have our Garmin GPS.
Right on Allegheny Boulevard, then take the first left.
That thing is critical because we put all of the dimensions and weight of the truck in this GPS, and it's a good fail-safe to make sure it doesn't take us down any roads that we're absolutely not supposed to go down, because if you notice, we are about 13 and a half feet tall, maybe a little under that. We overestimated that just to be on the safe side, but you don't want this taking you the fastest route if it's going to be a killer. So take this nice and wide, make sure we don't collect any people or telephone poles with us, and we're good. 6th gear already at 10 miles an hour. Got our wipers. I just cleared a bunch of bugs off of this thing, and then down here we've got our trans brake. It's really a Jake brake, and that helps us make smooth stops without using our brakes, because that is going to use a lot of energy and heat to try to bring 70,000 pounds back down to earth. This thing is just about patience and taking your time and looking in mirrors and checking your cameras. Play it a little safe here and not try to cut off this Subaru, but he's got a yellow now, so I can make the turn, and away we go. Climbing this hill, gotta bury that throttle. Nice and clear behind us.
Continue on I-80.
181 miles till our next turn, so my work is cut out for me. Now, normally I'd use all of that, but because we were in a good situation there, I didn't really need to use it. There was nobody behind us. looks like a passing storm. We'll just slowly creep up to about 70 miles an hour, which is our speed limit here, which is kind of luxurious. Now the truck will gain some speed on the downhills, so you do need to be aware of that. So I'm going to use this jake brake here just to take it easy on this one, because I don't want any trouble in the wet with this trailer and a big bridge over a gorge. That would be certain death for me and my friends. Release the jake brake and let it ride. We've got a truck behind us, so as I'm kind of getting acclimated and comfortable with it, he's going to make a pass. This will give you an idea how big we are. I haven't driven this in any strong winds yet. I'm starting to see some leaves flying around, so that's something that I'm just taking into account as we're cruising. I don't really want to have a huge gust catch the back of this thing, but we'll see how it goes. Climbing, I'm not wide open right now, but in an effort to sort of conserve fuel, I'll bring the speeds down just a bit, so I'm not trying to charge up at 65 or 70. Now some of these hills it's not even possible with this kind of payload, but it'll hold top gear. Sometimes if it's steeper, it'll go to 11th and we'll just kind of chug along at like 55. Traffic entering, kind of scary. Oh, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. This is how people get themselves killed. That's crazy. Yes, we have an air horn. We do have cruise control. Hit on here and then set it. We get 66 miles an hour up on the dial. It'll put this on, so like I don't have the jake brake on right now, but when you engage cruise control, it automatically puts that light on, so I'm not just driving with it. I messed up on this because this is mirrored right now. I hit a button on the camera because we lost the camera connection. The camera is actually plugged in right at the gooseneck into the main rig, and it must have come loose. So in an effort to kind of figure out what was going on, we were also playing with the camera, and I hit a button and I think I mirrored it. So that's a little frustrating. Shouldn't have done that, but it's all right. We still understand what it's telling us, which is helpful. If you're wondering if it's governed, I cannot accelerate beyond 75 miles an hour. So once I hit 75, that's where it calls it quits and I can no longer add throttle. It will roll over 70 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour, which, you know, not really thrilled with that either. We try to keep that to a minimum, but 75 is about our top speed cutoff in this for just comfort level. If the trailer starts to get squirrely, something bad happens, we have a trailer brake, so that way we can kind of put some tension on that and tighten it up. Pretty beautiful out here though. I like I-80. Everyone says it's boring, and I mean, objectively sure, but it's all rolling hills, which is, you know, a little tricky in this thing because we're having to really chug up some of them. All right, once I get up to 75, that's about where I start to call it. Nice and open. Steering on this, you know, it definitely takes some lock. You got to push a little harder than you think. Not in terms of energy, it's pretty light, but I just mean you got to go a little further than a typical car, obviously. The air brakes, brake pedal only moves about this far. The brakes start to engage very immediately. You want to keep a consistent pedal and kind of only be adding brakes. You don't want to be coming on and off of them constantly, because then you're gonna lose air, and then you could actually be without brakes completely if you lose what's in those compressors. that would be very, very, very bad. You don't want that. But the Jake brake does a really good job. As long as you're planning ahead and not needing to stop immediately, the engine braking is going to do you just fine. Wow, okay, yeah, now we're steep. I'm going to go with another degree of engine braking. Which is pretty impressive because we're in top gear and it's holding my speed. It's beautiful. If I let it go, this thing would probably be doing 80. Don't want to do that. Okay, then we're smoothing out, leveling out, kill it, let it ride. Use as much of that momentum as possible. Now it's in coast mode, so it's decoupled the transmission from the engine. So pretty much at idle, you can see the oil pressures come down. Now when I go to get back into the throttle, because now we're slowing down a little bit, I don't just go straight for the throttle. I engage the throttle so it knows that I'm going to do it. Then once that pressure comes up, that's when I start to engage a little bit of force and torque on the engine, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to just send it when the pressure's kind of low at that point. I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but who knows? Out of coast mode, we'll get back up to speed. State College. Good, all right, let's make a pass. Oh, might have spoken too soon. He's decided to chug along too. That's the thing, it's like sometimes you can't tell what's in a truck. So there's times when I go to make a pass and then I realize like, oh, he actually might be lighter than me up this hill, just taking it easy on the downhills. So try to be generous with the space and thoughtful about what they need. Not slow people down, let people kind of carry their momentum. And then we have cruise control, we'll set that 70. Try to keep it out of the junk so my passengers are comfortable. Good stuff. All right, we're well past him. We can double check on the mirrors and the camera. Back over. We're Gucci. It's a little unsettling to be on cruise control on a downhill, so a lot of times I just switch back. That's just my own insanity. Yeah, this engine's just incredible. It feels like it can just run forever and ever and ever. And it does. I mean, we stop for fuel and then we just go. I think that they need oil changes every 25,000 miles, I think David told me. So the maintenance on these is pretty wild. And on a car, if you had 86,000 miles on a used car, you'd think, oh man, we're getting close to its useful life. On this engine will probably go 1,000,000 miles, if not more. Look at this, just chugging up the hill. 1,500 RPM, try that in your Honda. Freightliner used all like Mercedes switchgear and stuff, so this all looks like it's out of like an S-Class from the early 2000s. You know, even this steering wheel. Now we have our air horn up here, of course, but we also have like a normal horn here, so less terrifying. More of a excuse me versus a oh my god, what have you done? Essentially, I am just trying to maintain as constant a speed as I can. See if he gets off his phone. A lot of these Swift drivers, I've noticed, are creative, we'll say. their driving is interesting. And so I've started to learn like which trucking companies I need to be a little more aware of while I make passes in this thing. But yeah, my goal is just to be able to maintain speed so that way we don't lose our arrival time, and making attempts to basically use as little fuel as possible without sacrificing that time, right? Because if I'm trying to do like 75, then yeah, that's gonna be rough. But you know, on the way home, we just need to get there. But you know, 68 to 70 is probably an okay speed. We'll see how this goes, and we'll make another pass on this guy. First, we'll see how heavy he is. Yeah, he's gonna be struggling, so we're gonna go for it. But it's wild because you don't make like hardcore passes. This is fast. I mean, this is like a legit pass. Kind of feel bad for the cars behind me. Usually that's my deal. Yeah, he's on his phone. See, that's what I mean. Like these guys, if you think like the teenage girl in her Jeep is annoying on her phone, like you can't see from your car most of the time because you're too low. But I've been watching these truck drivers, and a lot of them are multitasking. It's an office in there. The older guys are cool. The older guys don't do that so much. Younger guys, constantly on the phone. Looks like they're just reading. What's fun though is that you can look inside everybody's cars. I don't mean to be like a creepy voyeur, but like it is interesting. Like oh, what the, you know, you'll see someone with a really far away license plate and you're like, ah, what's going on in there? Like they've set up a whole arrangement with their family and everything. It's kind of cute. You know, you see people with dogs, see people in really weird positions in the cars. Like I hate seeing people with their feet on the dashboard and stuff. Now I do it a little bit over here when I'm in this one, so I get it. But like in a car, there's an airbag. Your feet are on the dashboard and that goes, you're toast. That's not great. That's gonna do it for our first little drive in this thing, dedicated to this thing, our Freightliner Toter Home. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one. If you got any questions about this thing, feel free to ask in the comments. Definitely never anticipated I'd be driving anything quite this large. The Unimog originally was the biggest thing I had ever driven, and I didn't think I would ever go bigger than that, but here we are.